This is Ray Fluck. Welcome to the first of the Walking Dead Season 8 recaps that we're going to be doing on the site. Similar to how we've done recaps in the past for American Gods and Preacher and American Horror Story, we're just going to be giving an overview about the episode, talking about some of the main takeaways, and give you my 10-cent opinion, what I think's going on. Let me start off by saying first that for this first one, this is not going to be objective in any way, shape, or form. Because as you can tell by the little Funko tribute that I've got going on in the background, yeah, I am, pardon my French, but I am so fucking psyched that not only is The Walking Dead back, but it's back to the manner that I want to see. I mean, I knew going in, we all knew, those of us who are familiar with the comic book, or those who just love and trust the people behind it, we knew that Season 7 was going to be painful, right from the very start. We knew that it was going to be slow and drug out, and we were just going to wonder when things were going to finally break, and they did. At the end of Season 7. And at the start of Season 8, they're not wasting any time. It's kind of tough to do a recap for the first episode entitled Mercy. Because, again, I feel like it was almost done as a gift for the fans. It was like, look, we know you had to endure this. Here you go. You're going to get to see Rick and the crew just kick major ass and see what it's like when they're back to old form. So again, not that there were a lot of things that went on per se major storyline-wise, but it did set up a lot of interesting things for the season. So again, I'm just going to touch upon some key points. First, the way the episode was structured, I really appreciated. That it was very linear, but then we had some mixing in of time in between, specifically around Rick. I want to address the flash forwards real quick because it's been a crazy theory I'm throwing around, but I'm going to keep doing it until they prove me wrong. Since I don't want to really let go of the whole Rick loses his hand this season. So I'm going with this whole idea that we're not really getting two flash forwards. I think we're getting one flash forward with the sick Rick, I'm going to call him. And I think the old man Rick is a fever dream that the flash forward sick Rick is having. I'm going to go there because it would be different. Then they couldn't be accused of kind of repeating the whole lost thing. Plus, it kind of seems like my hands, I'm looking in this video, aren't actually connected to me. So they're actually functioning their own. That's kind of weird. So I'm going to try to stop doing that, or at least show you I have arms. So there's that. I think that's a major factor to consider. The other thing I liked was, and this was a bone of contention, the fact you'll notice in the episode, there's a scene where Ezekiel, all of them just start blazing away on the Savior's compound with bullets. And you see a lot of people online are talking about, oh, that's such a waste of ammo. Why are they doing that? To be honest with you, and again, being as objective as I can, my feeling on that was they needed to state their case and make a show. They needed, if this was going to be the first major move against Negan, they needed to make sure that Negan and the Saviors knew that that we're going to give it to you just as much as we're going to take. And I think that's the reason why you saw the surprise on Negan's face. It was weird to see Jeffrey Dean Morgan in a position where he's like running and crawling on the ground and things like that. So I think that's what that was about. It was like, look, you think you have us? Look how we already showed you wrong. So I think that was a really good setup, and I think it bodes well for the next 3 episodes. Those who haven't seen this before, I know we reported on Bleeding Cool in the past that both Scott Gimple and Greg Nicotero have said that these next 3 episodes it's bang, bang, bang. Things just happen constantly. So I think we got a really nice build up and a setup for that. Not that I'm expecting this to be over relatively quick, but I don't see Rick and their group losing too much ground. I think it's just a matter of how many people and how much sacrifice has to be made between now and then. But seeing everybody working together, to see everybody in an orchestrated plan, I thought that was excellent. I think any Walking Dead fan was, I think, out of their seat and cheering and seeing what was taking place. But again, a couple things we want to talk about is, first, with regards to Father Gabriel. Father Gabriel is one of those characters I was never really that big of a fan of. He actually was on my Walking Dead death list for a long time, but somehow I don't know if it was laying in the background and slowly stepping up as kind of like a, not religious advisor to Rick, but I think more of a spiritual advisor to Rick. I think he's kind of gotten his own again. I've liked the role he played in the first episode, which is why I want to see Gregory get hurt so badly for screwing over Father Gabriel the way he did. And again, people are going to get on Father Gabriel about, Why did you do it? Everything. At the end of the day, he's not Gabriel. He's Father Gabriel. He's still going to default back to those things that he sees in people, the better angels that he sees in them. If it anybody else, I probably would have had more of an issue. But Father Gabriel, sadly, I'm not surprised. What I think it does show also, though, is it touches upon from a couple seasons before this concern about the group, and maybe this is why they've gotten to where they are, that the group became too soft, too complacent, too comfortable with being in the situation that they were in previously. And maybe Gabriel is kind of a reminder to that they're not at a place yet where they can kind of sit back and relax and just assume everything's going to go well. A couple other questions I think that come into play. The issue of Dwight. I'm curious to see how he factors into this because I feel like, again, Dwight and Daryl are still due for a reckoning that has nothing to do with Alexandria, the Hilltop, and the Kingdom, or the Saviors of Negan. I think this is much more of a personal issue. Hell, making me having to listen to that song even half that time, I'm be looking to kick somebody's ass. So again, I think there is still a reckoning. I think there might be an in the mud fight that's going to happen in that regards. Um, I'm looking forward to the point where I think they're already setting it up that Rick will be transitioning over power to Maggie. Maggie's just showing it already. That great scene when Jesus just proclaims to in front of Negan and Gregory that the Hilltop doesn't answer to Gregory anymore; they answer to Maggie. And I think that was fantastic. And Rick says it himself. He's at the point right now where I think he would much prefer the advisor, the elder statesman advisor role, than being the constant leader. But he just can't, in this situation, do that yet, unfortunately. Um, okay, there are a number of issues that come into play too that I could talk about, but it's the first episode. We're just getting it set up. So, again, we got second episode tonight, The Damned. And as I said, this is the beginning of from what we've been told, the bigger unveiling of Rick's plan. And as we know, not every big plan goes as it should. I think we're going to be seeing some people crossing lines. I think we're definitely going to see some people whose lives are going to get lost in the process. I told you before, and I'll tell you again, I'm not giving up on the whole Rick loses his hand thing. Maybe that's just because I'm stubborn. I don't know. But yeah, we've got episode 2 tonight, so I'm hoping you join me. We're going to be going back to giving more detailed recaps, starting with the second episode. But like I said, there's nothing wrong with a little bit of cheerleading for the first episode. We got to see the band back together, doing what they do so well. So I was very excited about that. But again, we'll see now where they go with this. The excitement of the first episode is one thing, but now you got to carry us through. And if you're telling us All Out War is not going to take place all season, then let's see where you're taking this. I'm very, very curious to see where we end up going into the holiday break. Okay, thank you guys for joining me. Again, my name is Ray Fluck. I work the TV beat for Bleeding Cool. I'm going to be doing the live blog as well as the recaps for The Walking Dead, so please make sure to join me tonight. We're going to be getting started at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with our unofficial pre-show where we post some cool stuff about The Walking Dead that you may not have been able to see during the week or some interesting things about the people who are in it. And then at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on AMC, we get started. So make sure, keep the page open, keep the live blog rolling. If there's stuff you see on the screen you don't necessarily agree with what I put, make sure I hear about it. If there's something, which I'm sure there'll be a ton of, things that you just think, oh my God, Ray, you are so wise, well, please feel free to bestow just lots and lots of praise upon me. I don't mind that either. But again, once again, my name is Ray. Thank you for joining me, and hopefully you'll be joining me tonight for The Walking Dead. Bring Out Your Dead, Bleeding Cool's live blog for The Walking Dead Season 8, Episode 2, The Damned. See you then.